Mayor Duggan. The good, a huge announcement from Wayne State on free tuition. The bad, an Inspector General's scathing report on the Make Your Date program. The mayor is here to talk about that and more. And a slew of new local-looking news sites. But what's behind them? Today is Sunday, October 27th, 2019, and this is Flashpoint. Hi, welcome to Flashpoint as we head into Halloween week. And this morning we're going to try sorting out the tricks and treats. It was no doubt a surprising and delightful treat when Wayne State announced they have found a way to make the school tuition-free for Detroit high school graduates. It was a stunning moment, and the hope is that it's a sea change in the way that college education is viewed and valued in a city that hasn't exactly been synonymous with education excellence. The governor was there, and so was Mayor Duggan. No doubt he preferred that moment to the one that came 2 days before. That's when the city's Inspector General, Ellen Ha, released her report on the city's relationship with the Make Your Date program. Ha found that the Duggan administration did exactly what they told us they didn't do, which was give preferential treatment to the program. More troubling to many, that emails related to Make Your Date were ordered to be deleted by the mayor's chief of staff. The mayor takes issue with the findings, and he's here to talk about that this morning, about Wayne State, about the demolition bond he'd like voters to pass, and a lot more. A little later on today, I'm wondering if you have read the Lansing Sun lately. What is the Lansing Sun? Well, that was my question. It must be something. It's got a really official-looking website. Well, it turns out it's one of dozens of such sites that have shown up in Michigan this fall. What exactly is going on? It's all coming up today on Flashpoint. It was quite a week for Mayor Duggan. On Monday, he was hit with the report from the city's Inspector General that found quite a few problems with the way the administration dealt with the Make Your Date program, a program designed to help Detroit women get to full term with their pregnancies. Then a few days later, smiles all around as Wayne State University announced it's going tuition-free for Detroit students. Just part of the mayor's week, and it's good to have him back with us this morning on Flashpoint. Mayor, thank you very much for coming.
Thanks for having me, Davin.
I want to start with, I think, long-term, the really big news of the week. This is an extraordinary announcement by Wayne State to go tuition-free. I imagine it's been in the works, so they've been working on this a lot longer than most of us knew, but this really seemed to come out of nowhere to a lot of people.
Well, of course, we've run the Detroit Promise for two-year tuition for community colleges for quite a while, but President Roy Wilson and the Wayne State Board deserve phenomenal credit, because now if you get admitted to Wayne State and you went to high school in Detroit or you live in Detroit, you've got free college tuition. And for kids growing up to know that that great institution is there for them, you know, I was in the room, and the level of excitement was extraordinary.
The reaction on social media immediately was people just were kind of stunned. There, of course, are always somebody ready to throw rocks at the nicest flower, and you heard from some going, well, I went to high school in Garden City. Why am I not eligible? Wayne State's a state university. Why is it just Detroit?
Well, I would say if you'd like free tuition at Wayne State, you're welcome to move into the city.
And I kind of thought that might be your take.
And for anybody who's putting a house up for sale, they ought to put a sign on it that says, with this house comes 4-year free college tuition, which in some cases may be even more valuable than the house. I think it's going to be a huge boost for the city of Detroit, and the joy on the face. In fact, I walked out with 2 or 3 high school students who were going to call their parents right then to say, Mom and Dad, you're not going to have to pay my tuition. It's pretty powerful.
It was a life-changing moment, no doubt. 2 days before that, as I mentioned, this report came out on the Make Your Date program. The Inspector General's report takes great issue with the way that your administration kind of conveyed all of this. For the longest time, you told us that there was no preferential treatment given to the program. Then the defense turned into, well, there really was no other program like this one. We had to go, which I buy. I can't imagine there were a whole lot of people working in that space, but that's not what we were told. Why not say at the beginning, of course we gave them preferential treatment. It's the only one around.
This is no different. I said this in my first day to the city, my second stay to the city. So let's go back on what this program is. I ran Hutzel Hospital for 9 years, where we have hundreds of babies born 2 pounds or less. These babies can live in incubators for weeks at a time with tubes down their nose and mouth for feeding and breathing. And we have 2 floors up at Wayne State University, the single greatest preterm birth research center in the world. They've got $167 million in federal funding. They've got the National Institute of Health based there, the only place in the Midwest it is. And they've got a program that's cut preterm birth by 37%. I said, you are doing this world-breaking research in international journals. It isn't reaching the moms in Detroit.
I haven't heard anybody take issue with the program, other than the fact that some pointed out that for whatever reason, infant mortality has gone up a little bit in Detroit since the program started. I'm not linking those two at all. But I haven't heard anybody take issue with the program. It was in the way that the administration dealt with giving the program a lot of preferential treatment.
Again, I absolutely disagree that it was preferential. And you put a pretty negative connotation on the report. 6-month investigation, and the Office of Inspector General found we violated no ordinances, no policies, no rules, no conflict of interest provision, and no money misspent. Normally, a City of Detroit administration gets a 6-month investigation with no rules broken and no money misspent is a positive. Now,
I don't think it's fair to characterize it as a clean bill of health, though, either. They recommended that, for one thing, that there be discipline on your chief of staff, Alexis Wiley, who, as a former reporter, frankly, should know better than to delete 200 pages of emails.
So let's talk. The emails are a separate question.
Okay.
Okay. And that, to me, was a fair point to raise. And as so many cases, I knew when the deleted emails came up, it was going to be a bigger story than the basic one. But I've been to a number of events where moms have come up to me and said, I had 2 miscarriages, and I got in Make Your Date, and I had the educational support, and I delivered a healthy baby. My first baby was born at 28 weeks, and I was afraid to get pregnant again, and I went to Make Your Date and brought the baby to term. It has been a very successful program. There is nothing comparable to Wayne State.
No issue with the program at all. I haven't heard that raised.
And so the fact the report found no rules, no policies, no conflict of interest, as far as I'm concerned, I'm very proud of what Wayne State has done with Make Your Date. Now, the emails turned out to be a complicating factor that was, I just assumed would not have had to deal with, but you saw what happened, and this is the craziest thing. We had 2 junior level staff who were trying to help Wayne State raise money. Wayne State has got a philanthropy department that's 20 times bigger than Detroit's. They raise millions for scholarships, as you saw, to build buildings, for research. And our staff people were sending emails to Wayne State saying, we want to help you raise money. And Wayne was by and large writing back, we got this. When our folks decided to tell those junior staff people to delete the emails, they were worried about Bob Carmack, who at the time was running video boards on me, was following not just me but other people, was running airplane attacks not just on me but other people in the administration. And I think that Alexis and Ryan and Serene genuinely wanted nothing other than these 2 junior staff people not to have their names in the paper. And so
you think they were trying to protect the junior staffers rather than trying to protect you? Isn't the more logical explanation they were? You have not wanted to talk about your private life about this.
Did you read the OIG report?
Yeah, I did. And Ellen Ha said that your private life was not an issue. She didn't look into that. But wasn't that the complicating factor in what they were trying to protect you from?
The OIG report says that they were doing it to protect these junior staff. And Devin, we recovered the emails. They've been posted on the city website for 3 months.
They don't really go away, that's right.
But here's the beauty. You haven't seen, nothing in the OIG report said there was any problem in the emails. You haven't covered any problem in the emails. The emails are innocuous.
No, but that's the old saying, Mayor, that the problem is never the problem. It's always the cover-up.
When I heard about this, Dave Masser, our CFO, and I said, oh, great, this email thing where these 2 junior staff can't possibly have anything. The emails don't mention Alexis. They don't mention me. It was a mistake to tell them to do it. As soon as we found out about it, we got them recovered. But I'd encourage your viewers, go to DetroitMI.gov and check the recovered emails. You can read every one of the emails for yourself, and when you read them, there was no motive for anybody to delete these.
Which is all the more stunning that they were deleted. But
I agree with you.
Did you consider relieving Alexis Wiley of her duties at all?
Of her duties for what? So
because she deleted emails, which is against policy.
It is not against policy.
You can't delete public record emails.
The OIG found that Alexis Wiley, after 6 months, not one finding she violated any policy. any rule, any law, FOIA. She did not find.
And yet they recommended discipline for her.
Which isn't that interesting? How can you complete a report where you don't find they violated a single rule? And here's the difference, Devin, and you understand the law. I used to be the Wayne County's FOIA and record retention attorney. If Governing Magazine writes to our HR director today and says, I'd like to sell you a subscription, I think it'd be good for management. Doesn't matter whether it comes in the mail or email. If our HR director doesn't want it, they can throw it out. Nobody's ever considered that a public document.
That's right. No,
but if Devin Skillion the next day says, I'm doing an investigation of Governing Magazine and sends a FOIA on correspondence, the moment we get that FOIA, it's a public document and it is not legal to dispose of it. And what happened here was nothing was disposed of after the FOIA. So I agree with you. It was bad judgment. And we are doing retraining for Alexis and Ryan and the like, but when you don't find a single rule they broke, I don't understand where you come off demanding discipline.
I want to make sure we get to a number of other issues. The demolition bond that you're urging the council to put before voters now, $250 million. I think a lot of people have seen, you've had almost 20,000 structures torn down, which is great, but it's also there've been a lot of problems, a lot of fits and starts with everything from filled dirt to asbestos to we've had a guilty plea to accepting a bribe on the bids. How do you convince Detroiters that you've got all this figured out now and that this $250 million is well spent?
So let's start with this. One low-level staff person that we fired 2 years ago took the guilty plea. And the feds have indicated they expect no other charges against any other public official. So let's not overstate this. There is such a disconnect. I wish the reporters who write about this for 1 week had to live in a house next to an abandoned building in Detroit. Because when I'm in the neighborhoods, I'm afraid to go to sleep at night because that house is going to catch fire and spread to my house. Last week, we had 4 police officers injured in an abandoned building in a fire. We've had 3 women killed by a serial killer in these abandoned houses. And the feds, Treasury appropriately suspended our funding more than 3 years ago. We put in a whole new process in the summer.
You said at the time you felt like you guys got in too much of a hurry.
The Treasury was right. We needed to clean up the process in the summer of 16. For the last 3 years, the $265 million in federal money has flowed uninterrupted without a single complaint on the part of our regulators. And we have taken down 20,000 homes, but I'm more proud of the fact we've had 9,000 vacant homes that have been sold and moved families in. Because when you knock down the 2 burned out houses, the solid brick house somebody will move into. Here's your question. 20,000 are down, 18,000 or so are still to go. What do you say to the folks living in the other 18,000? Sorry, you don't get your neighborhood taken care of? Or do we have an obligation to get rid of blight in every single neighborhood? And I absolutely believe that within 5 years, there will be no blight in the city of Detroit. We're halfway there. And if this goes on the ballot, I have no doubt from the reaction I'm getting, the voters in the city are anxious to do it.
I want to get to a couple other things. We've got this debate over facial recognition technology. It has blown up we've got members of Congress now weighing in on what should be going on in the city of Detroit, a battle with the police chief. Where do you stand on this technology?
I think what the Board of Police Commissioners did was great, and President Obama's director of civil rights in the Justice Department was just here and said that she believes the Detroit Board of Police Commissioners policy will become the standard for the nation. I have never seen a story more misreported in the media than this one. At no point have we ever used moving images for facial recognition to see where you're going or anything like that. And it's not good enough to do that. And I've been against.
I don't know that I've gotten the sense that people think that's already you think that that's how it's being reported? That's already happening?
That's what people have been scared of.
Sure.
But as I know you understand, the only way facial recognition works today is if we got a straight-on shot to compare it to a straight-on shot. And even then, Caucasians are matched at a higher rate than people of color. But if there's any movement at all, it's meaningless. The only time we've used it is we've got a shot. A lot of times now it's these Ring doorbells of the straight-on picture of the person who broke into your house.
Every week,
we run it against the pictures in the mug book, and the report will come back, here's 5 faces that look similar. And then the police proceed to say, are any of these likely to be suspects? In some cases, we've gone to people's Facebook pages and found a picture of them sitting on the getaway car on their own Facebook page. That's pretty, if you got shot, you'd want the police to do that. But I don't think facial recognition should be used for surveillance. I'm against it. And the Board of Police Commissioners passed a policy that says that any member of the Detroit Police Department who uses it off of videos will be terminated, and I think that's right.
I assume you and the chief have had private discussions and conversations about this?
The chief and I are 100% in sync. Here's where the problem has come in. We need to put cameras at intersections because this year we're going to have between 200 and 300 drive-by shootings where somebody has identified the car. It's a red Jeep Grand Cherokee at 1:20 a.m. But they aren't standing there writing down the license plate when guns are shooting. We want the ability, when you hit the half-mile road, to have a camera there so we can get a license plate, we can get a dent on the side of it, we can get identifying features. And that's what we were trying to do, not facial recognition, but to get cameras at intersections to find the license plates on these shooters. And that's what's in front of council now. And I think some people who oppose that intentionally conflated the two issues.
I got very little time left, but I wanted to give you a chance to weigh in also, lastly, on the Airbnb issue. Right. It's getting harder and harder, and this has been bandied around, it's still going on council, to understand the city's policy on Airbnbs.
Well, I'm an Airbnb fan. When I travel, I use it.
You and I both.
And I think Janae Ayers is heading the right direction because here's our problem. We've had some folks in neighborhoods buy a house they never moved into and turn it into a 365-day-a-year hotel in the middle of a neighborhood. That's not right. On the other hand, we got a lot of folks able to stay in their homes because they're renting out their upstairs for the extra income.
Right.
And so I think there's a balance that you could use it 365 days a year if you're in the house, or maybe up to 180 days if you're not in the house. There's some middle ground. I think Janae Ayers is trying to do the right thing, and I hope we get to a fair middle position.
Plenty left for us to talk about, but we're going to have to leave it there. Mr. Mayor, thank you very much for being here on Flashpoint.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. We'll come back with more. Things like the Lansing Sun. What is that all about? This is Flashpoint on Local 4.